Zombie games are back, and it does feel like we had a craze a while ago, but I'm going to show you 5 games that will get that hype meter back up, as I'm pretty bored with scavenging for beans on DayZ. Starting off with Dying Light the Beast. It's a standalone spin-off of the Dying Light series, both 1 and 2, and it's a prequel to Dying Light 2. We play as Kyle Crane, who is the protagonist in the first Dying Light, who has now become infected and starting to kind of mutate. But instead of turning into a mindless husk like we've seen in the series, he gets enhanced strength, speed, and other beast-like abilities that will, fundamentally change the way that the entire game plays, the way we move, the way we fight. It's not just cosmetic. The entire new Crane will essentially just have a more aggressive combat system. So we'll be able to, do wild things like throw the infected around, be able to run and charge through barricades, and generally act just like a super-powered human in the incredible universe, which has got probably the best parkour system in my honest opinion, and I really enjoyed just traveling the open world with it. The world itself is said to be a little bit more vertical, with some improved zombie AI and a few more enemies that should, as they said, react more intelligently to how we move, to the noises we make. Now Techland, who are making it, are promising a darker narrative, more environmental storytelling, and refined first-person animations, especially during the combat scene. So while it maintains the core of Dying Light's gameplay, this does feel like a step forward, and I feel like it should really hold an interesting light into the series. Now Dying Light the Beast is due out on August the 22nd, 2025, and will launch on PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, with last gen versions apparently following later this year. We then have another really bizarre looking one called NAKWON Last Paradise. It's a third-person PvPvE zombie survival game set in a quarantine version of South Korea. Now what sets this apart is its focus on realism and social tension. So rather than just giving every player just a mad amount of arsenal, we get pretty basic survival tools, and it'll be pitting us against, both zombies and players in a world where every item we have to loot and we have to fight for will come with a real risk. We take on the role of a civilian trying to survive daily runs into a zombie-infested city. During the day, we'll be looking after our base, making sure everything's okay, and at night, we seem to be running into the city to kind of loot as much as possible, so looking after, injuries, exhaustion, stuff like that. I'm not quite sure why it's that way around and why we're not going during the day. Maybe there's some gameplay mechanics we're yet to know, but that's kind of what I've got from learning about it. But of course, as I said, it's not just the undead that we need to be careful of. Other players will be out there to come for us, steal our loot, stalk us, and basically just make our life a living hell. There's no shooting your way out of everything though, as guns are noisy and they are quite rare to find, so stealth is definitely a better option. And in one of the videos we see, a guy's hiding in like a cardboard box, Metal Gear Solid style, and it looks really, really good. The game does use systems, bleeding and trauma to kind of try and simulate a more survival way, and characters can die permanently, which means we've got to be really careful and really think about what action we're going to take moving forward. Now, it's developed by Mint Rocket, which is the studio behind Dave the Diver. It's an ambitious shift, in my opinion, into darker territory from Dave the Diver, and there's no confirmed release date, but it is marked as coming soon on Steam, and is currently confirmed for PC only. I ain't got a single clue or any foggy idea on if it's going to be coming to consoles anytime soon. Now, another one of my absolute favorites is Killing Floor 3. This is the latest in Tripwire Interactive's co-op zombie series, and in my opinion, it looks like it's shaping up to be probably the most ambitious one yet. It's built in Unreal Engine 5. It features improved visuals, overhauled gore systems, and a deeper progression system, while still keeping that fast-paced, wave-based action that the series is known for. It's kind of like a more adult Call of Duty Zombies. It's set in 2091, and it takes place 70 years after the game Killing Floor 2. The biotech company Horse Iron has taken over society, and the experiments, which we obviously know as zombies, are called Zeds, and they are now all over the world, and it's a full-blown global threat. We play as a rebel force called Nightfall, who have been fighting, just unrelentlessly against these deadly mutants or Zeds, using a bunch of weapons and class-based abilities. There is a thing called Z time, which is a slow motion mechanic, and it allows us to kind of, you know, slow down time by the looks of it, and kind of really twist the gameplay slightly there. There are tons of classes, so, you know, medics, we've got demolitionists and berserkers, and each class has access to a full loadout and a progression tree. Enemies are more aggressive and come in new variants with some really unique abilities, forcing us and our friends to have to kind of change on the fly. One notable addition is the central hub system, which lets players prepare for missions, you know, tweak their builds, customize gear between runs before we have to go back out there. The game supports up to 6-player co-op and includes full crossplay between platforms. Killing Floor 3 launches on July the 24th, 2025, and will be available on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Very much excited for that one myself. We then have Projekt Z Beyond Order, which is a story-driven co-op FPS set during an alternate version of World War II, where Nazi scientists have been, you know, stupidly experimented with trying to bring back the dead. It's developed by a German indie studio, 314 Arts. It blends zombie slaying action with base management, some character progression, and apparently some environmental storytelling. So we'll have to be working as a team, operating from a bunker located on a mysterious island somewhere, and from this bunker we're set out on missions to uncover a bunch of secrets, battle the undead, who are basically Nazi experimentations, and rescuing NPCs. Between missions we can upgrade our base, we can look and find and recruit survivors, we can make our own weapons and improve our characters. The game supports both online and local co-op with 4 playable characters, each who offer different abilities and storylines. Missions are objective based, and each run ties us into a broader narrative as we piece together what really happened on this island. Gunplay is heavily customizable with attachment systems, crafting mechanics allowing us to kind of choose and tailor our weapons to what we want. The tone looks grim, but it doesn't look overly gory, and the emphasis seems to be on teamwork and progression. Now, there's no confirmed release date yet, but it's looking like a 2025 launch on PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. So it's one of the few upcoming zombie games that seem to be focusing on more storytelling than just action. Now, this last one is an absolute doozy. This is Showa American Story. It's a single-player action RPG that everyone thought wasn't real. They went silent for years, and then they just came back. It's set in a very bizarre alternate universe of the 1980s, where America was overtaken by Japanese culture following a political and economic collapse. The apocalypse arrives in the form of the zombie outbreak, and we play as Chuku, who is a teenage girl who mysteriously comes back to life and starts to search and ask for answers in what is a very bizarre world. The game looks to be very much a hack and slash, combat, gunplay, exploration with a strong focus on the story. The tone mixes retro-futurism, kind of some satire and survival horror all in their own way. Chuku can wield anything from katanas to machine guns, and the world is filled with bizarre NPCs, side quests, and cultural mashups. So we're talking, you know, some really unique looking Japanese American buildings. It looks really cool. Combat looks to be fast-paced and flashy, and the developers have said they want a very emotional journey, which is just as important to them as the gameplay itself. Now, the story gradually reveals how the world got to this point and why Chuku is special. Now, the game includes crafting, it includes RPGs, skill trees, and of course customizable outfits, along with mini-games and optional content that will expand the weirdness in this game. Now, there's no official release date yet, but it's being actively developed and available to wishlist on Steam now. It will launch on PC with console versions still unconfirmed, but I assume it will do. I don't think this game's going to come out because it looks too good to be true, but if it does, I'm all here for it. Now, I am a huge zombie fan in all types of media, video games, movies, TV shows, but I'm very much looking forward to getting my teeth into these. Honestly, I tried to stay away, but I had to get one pun in. Now, let me know out of these what you're looking forward to, and hopefully we have a huge craze of zombie games coming back rather than just more battle royale games.